Every day, we wake up before the sun rises, preparing ourselves for another day of hard work. Our family, like crores of others, contributes 50% to the Indian economy. But despite our significant contribution, we are often overlooked and deprived of our basic entitlements. One day, my neighbour introduced me to a union in my locality. They helped me understand my rights. And today, I want to share my knowledge with you. So, we 50 crore workers can collectively demand our 5 rightful social security entitlement. Our first demand is to recognise and register unorganised workers. Social security is our rightful entitlement. When farm work dries up, we travel to the city to find jobs in construction sites and work in various fields for our livelihood. Our labour builds buildings, and yet we live in shanties. Social Security Code 2020 mentioned some benefits as a scheme, not as rightful entitlement, and with little say or participation allowed from us. Government must recognise eShram portal as a platform for legitimate registration of unorganised workers and not a database for the government, and provide easily accessible means of registration. Our second demand is compulsory wage compensation during maternity for female workers of rupees. 50,000, 6 months of minimum wage. The day I gave birth to Tanyu, my second child, was a difficult one. My family and I were working in the fields, and we could not afford to go to the hospital. I had to deliver Tanyu in the fields, and the very next day I was back to work. Currently, women in unorganised sector are not eligible for maternity entitlement under the Code on Social Security. The third demand is to link us to the employee's state insurance, INSOR, with its 5 main benefits. Some of us work in a hazardous environment like sewage pipes, cleaning and getting rid of garbage. The toxic fumes often inhaled in this line of work eventually killed my neighbour, Kishore, an earning member in his family. If Kishore was covered under the ESI, he would have been entitled to the treatment that could have saved his life. The fourth demand is a pension of Rs 5,000 per month. This is not just a number. It represents security and dignity for workers like me who have dedicated their lives to supporting their families. It is our right to have a dignified life during our old age. But with low wages and high commodities costs, we cannot save enough to have a peaceful retirement. Lastly, we demand life cover to financially safeguard our families from fatal tragedies. A minimum coverage of 5 lakhs in the event of death or disability for all workers. We were barely able to support our own family, but when an accident left my husband Vinod fatally injured, we also had to bear the expenses for his treatment since we could not afford medical insurance and there isn't a government scheme to safeguard us. I was forced to take a medical loan at a high interest rate for Vinod's treatment. It was fruitless since Vinod didn't survive. My family is now entirely dependent on me. Existing insurance schemes provide little compensation and depend on the worker's income level. Extensive documentation is another barrier to qualifying for benefits. Today, I am proud to be an active member of the Workers' Union. Together, we raise our voices and fight for our rights. But we cannot do it alone. We can make a difference by contributing a minimum of rupees 50 annually, which can support our rightful demands for 5 social security entitlements. It's time for all 50 crore unorganised workers who are contributing more than 50% to the nation's income GDP. Demand a minimum annual allocation of 5% of the GDP to realise 5 core social security entitlement. Join your local union's associates of NAS, the National Alliance for Social Security and Solidarity organisations, to collectively fight these systemic injustices against us.